Any other questions?
So I'll let you know. Thank you, Siobhan, very much for coming and doing this. And I think people might have more questions too that come up. But meanwhile, we do have over on the table here, we have some brochures that are put out by the MWRA with some tips for, different things you can do around your house. And also, we have these are the pieces of the kits, the low flow shower heads, and including the dye packs. There's dye packs on that table and over here, so you can test your toilets, and some aerators for your sinks. I also have forms that if you want to take them back, you can actually write directly to the MWRA and they will provide you these as well, or you can take them for somebody who might not be here today. And I also have a little bit of some information about changing your toilet to a low flow toilet. So there's a little bit more information in the back there as well. But lots of stuff available online. I'm in the process of in doing this, found a lot of neat things that are out there and ways to save, even putting mulch in your yard, for instance, and instead of just having grass, can help trap the water in that you do have. And in these heavy raining days like today, you don't necessarily have to even water so much for many days on. So there's definitely a lot of helpful hints, and so we'll be working on putting that up on my website too, which is votemonica.com. I'm going to come back to, as you know, I'm a candidate for state senate as well as being an alderman here, and some of the things that I think that we could do and that I could do if elected are here. The MWRA is just that. It's an authority. It is not really subject to much of anything. It's an independent agency, not underneath the governor, not really underneath the state legislature. But yet the state legislature can make some rules to govern it. And I would propose, in the city of Melrose, in all cities and towns, we have to operate under Proposition 2.5, which means that our budget can't increase more than 2.5% each year above the levy limit. And I would propose putting a cap just like that on the growth of the MWRA budget, so that they are encouraged, not just by people complaining, but there's nobody elected up there. They're all independent. That they have a 2.5% cap on the growth of their budget, so that they have to operate under the same constraints that we do as a city. Also, advocate for more state assistance of MWRA debt. You saw the big chunks of the pie that we have to pay the MWRA. 60 cents on every dollar that they collect goes to pay long-term capital debt service. That's crippling. So much of how they got into the debt that they're in is because of the Boston Harbor cleanup that happened about 20 odd years ago. And we're still paying for it. And that did benefit, obviously, anybody that's in this water and sewer system, but it benefited the whole state because it's increased. You see the growth that's happening right down on the waterfront in Boston, and you see how it has it, I believe, the entire state, not just the communities that are in the MWRA district. That was a statewide project, and I think we should have statewide assistance to help pay for some of that debt, because we can't even do, and the MWRA can't do, the work that we do need to do underneath the ground until we get out from under the debt that we have. It's burdensome. If you imagine if you took 60% of every single paycheck you had immediately to go pay your mortgage before you did anything else, you'd be strapped.
Is there a projection as to when that debt will be satisfied?
Yeah, maybe never. It is a long time out. The question is there a projection for when that debt will be satisfied? And the projections that we see from the MWRA are actually that they are anticipating that their costs are going to actually increase. They're expecting a major increase in the next 2 fiscal years. So to their credit, they have done some things to diminish that, and we have seen some improvement, because as little as a year ago they were saying that this was going to be about 3% higher than what they're telling us to expect now. But it's kind of overwhelming. And previously the state did provide assistance to the MWRA, but about, I don't know, it's been several years now. It's before I was on the board of Aldermen, I think, the last time that we had received some assistance from the state, and we haven't seen that in many years. So it is something that was previously done. I do believe that we all benefit from this service in the state, and that we should get some assistance from them to help these communities that are in the MWRA district. And finally, I would support filing legislation that would allow us, you can do this as a senior tax credit, a circuit breaker credit, but allow you to be able to write off or deduct the amount that you're paying for water and sewer on your state income taxes. I think it would just be a little bit of a relief for people. Right now this is available for senior citizens under the senior circuit tax credit, circuit breaker tax credit, so it is something that you should look for if you are a senior citizen, and make sure you're taking advantage of this. For a portion of your water and sewer, if you meet certain criteria, can be deducted. But I think it's something that could help all of us, and what we're paying, especially in communities like Melrose that are 100% on MWRA for water and sewer, are really struggling. So this would really make a big difference for communities like ours, and something that I would like to file. That's the end of my presentation. I do think you probably have some questions for me, so I would gladly answer them. Anybody questions?
Why are they charging the fees?
Why are they charging the fees? Is that the base charge?
The base charge $15 and the second sewer fee $50.
So the whole change to the tiered rate system, I think, was meant to encourage conservation, and I think also to, again, this is something that I didn't support this changeover, but those that did, these are the kinds of arguments that this would encourage conservation, that it would create some more stability by having a base charge every quarter instead of just going on what you use, because what residents use, how much they use, can vary greatly. It can make it difficult for budgeting, and so the idea came to charge this base fee plus a fee for a rate for usage. The idea also is that even sometimes folks go away on vacation and they're not there, that, or with this is for, say, home use, that still there is some water. There are services that are being provided, the maintenance and the upkeep of the sewer lines and things like that in the city, that by being a ratepayer they were benefiting from, even if they were not using it directly in their homes. I don't exactly agree with that, but I think that maybe sums up why the switch. This also, in terms of in terms of second meters. So there's been a lot of discussion, and I don't know if anybody here has a second meter. These will be, there's a moratorium, no new second meters. This is as of those same meetings last year in June, to become effective July 1st. And no more second meters. So if you have a second meter at your home, you're grandfathered in, so long as you don't transfer ownership to someone else. So if you sell your house, the new person will not be able to have the second meter. And as we mentioned, that this city is changing over all of the meters to these new meters with the radio read. We did vote to go to new meters. However, the implementation of exactly how the new meter changeover would work is something I believe that the Water Rate Commission had set, and they have said that if you're changing to a new meter and you have a second meter for lawns and outdoor use, that it will be your responsibility financially to change that over. Otherwise, you will not be grandfathered. Why is it so high? Is this water that's used to water the lawns or for pools is considered to be sort of a luxury use. There had been movement to even charge a higher rate for that water, although that had been pulled back and that has not been done here. But the idea is that the water that you use to come out of the faucet to cook and clean and bathe with is the vital usage water, and that the other water is luxury use. So I think there's a movement now to discourage this use, obviously, and so that you're not having the deduction for sewer on those lines. What I would say is, I hear a lot about water and sewer as an alderman. I know for a while back, one of the aldermen that's not there anymore had said no one's ever mentioned or complained about a high water bill to him, but I hear about it a lot, more than probably any other issue. So I think sometimes people know that you have a friendly ear in me and they'll talk to me about it. But what I would suggest is to talk to some of the other aldermen out there about your concerns and about how it's actually affecting you, because we all make decisions and try to make the best decisions that we can when we sit in that horseshoe up at City Hall, but sometimes we don't know exactly how it affects the individual. So, if things are negatively affecting you, I would suggest to talk to your alderman. I don't think that we will have any kind of change in the middle of this year for sure, but this stuff will come up in our budget cycle next year as well. Certainly I would talk to them. I would talk to the folks at City Hall and let them know about your concerns about it. And in the meantime, I would strongly suggest looking into rain barrels. If you have lawns, I did hear recently that somebody had a friend who is actually trucking the water in for her pool instead of going through the city, and it's actually cheaper. So it's things like that. I wish it was a better answer, but I think it's worth looking into other options like that to see if there are ways to do it that are less expensive than what we've got.
Curious, is this trending around this tier system, or other towns have these surcharges in a tier system?
I think that there are definitely some that are there. I think there's more of a movement towards conservation, and this system again is supposed to encourage conservation, because the more you use, the more you pay. So therefore, you're being penalized if you use more and encouraged to use less.
Malden's on a tier system.
Malden is on a tiered system. They actually have the same consultant that had advised us. I do believe there are some other communities around, so it is somewhat trending.
But you're also being penalized if you have a big family. So it's really not fair, because, as you said, even an apartment building, you get charged more, even though there's only a certain number of people per condominium or per unit. People with larger families are paying more, probably afford it less. So the tier system just doesn't make any sense for someone with a big family.
No, it doesn't. So the comment is that the tiered system isn't really fair for anybody who has a large family, or maybe 3 or 4 children, or people in the household. That it really, you're getting paid more. You have to use more water because there's more individuals, but maybe the per individual use might be less, but in the overall sense, it's not exactly fair. No, and I didn't support going to this system. I think there are some problems like that, where you have, you know, people with big families, and we look, and we do have a senior citizen discount available for this system, and anybody who's a senior should go down to City Hall and apply for this. But it does, you know, anybody that's in a like you said, the apartment complexes or the bigger buildings, even, you know, even two-family households can sometimes more easily go into the next tier. You know, we suggest, if this system is going to stay in place, we would suggest people individually meter their units so that they're not going over this into the next tier. But it's tough on those, and I think that it's something that, you know, I think we should continue to look at it. We're only a little over 1 year into this system, and I again would suggest people to talk to their alderman and about the concerns that they have, and you know, maybe when we come up to the next year, maybe we can tweak the system, or maybe we go back to what we had, but maybe not. Maybe this is just how it is. So.
Have you heard any pushback from the business community? I mean, people are supporting you, or they're just, it's business, another cost of business, or?
We really haven't heard so much from businesses, aside from some apartment buildings where
I think restaurants use a tremendous amount of that.
Yeah, they do. Restaurants, the question is there pushback from the business community, and the restaurants use a tremendous amount of water. And actually, this system, so previously there was two different rates, one flat rate for residential and one flat rate for commercial. So this new system, it does not differentiate between residential and commercial. So it's all the same. So, you know, you'll see different types of businesses use more water than others, but the commercial rate in the past was always higher. So I think that
Could be savings for some people.
I think some people in commercial are actually saving. I think they're, you know, everybody's water's going up, but I think this really hit the residents a little bit more. And, you know, there's lots of factors going into our water rate. You know, you saw this, the fixed costs that we have to have for our employees, and, you know, just the costs that do go up, and we have to pay health insurance, which goes up for everybody, you know, the same way as everyone else. And the MWRA has to do that for all of their employees. And, you know, but the things that we can control, we should try to keep the cost down.
So I'm going to leave you guys with, please visit my website. It's www.votemonica.com. I would love to have your vote this fall in November. And if not, I'm going to still try to do my best job as an alderman here in the city of Melrose. That's where my heart is, and always will be. And, you know, do my best for all you guys. So I could use lots of help. If you're interested, you can sign up there. I have volunteer sheets and things like that over on the table there, along with the dye packs to test the toilet. And if you feel like you'd like to join the campaign, we'd love to have you. So thank you very much for coming. I can hear the water, the rain right now. So safe getting home, and thank you very much for coming.